When you come to a fork in the road, take it. On the one hand, that's a joke because a fork in the road implies a choice between two seemingly equal options. But the statement implies picking up a literal fork. Well, all kidding aside, when faced with a fork in the road, most people want to know which road to take. Which is why, on the other hand, it's helpful advice because it urges us to act when we may be tempted to hesitate or even stop due to indecision. Life leads us to forks in the road every day, even every hour, and we must choose. Sometimes our choice is a good one, sometimes not, and sometimes we decide we won't choose. But that in itself is a choice. With the death of Ish-bosheth and the reuniting of all Israel under King David, the nation had taken its fork in the road. 2 Samuel 5 verses 1 through 3. Place yourself in their shoes and imagine their excitement as the successful warrior, the chosen one with God's own heart, is now shepherd and prince of the whole nation. Oh, what glories await! Their expectations were high. Would David meet or exceed those expectations? We get a hint with the capture of Jerusalem and its establishment as the capital of Israel. It was the right fork to take because of the other names for Jerusalem, the stronghold of Zion and the city of David, 2 Samuel 5 verse 7. This account was written long after the events it records in these early chapters, and those names are intimately familiar to the first readers as symbols of the glories God had poured out on Israel under King David. Verse 8 goes on to declare that David lived in the stronghold and called it the city of David. Verse 10 makes it even clearer that they had taken the right fork. David became greater and greater, for the Lord God of hosts was with him. And here's where the greatness of David is displayed, why he was the right fork. Rather than look at the nation's success and take credit for it, David gave credit to God. Verse 12 says, "And David realized that the Lord had established him as king over Israel, and that he, that is God, had exalted his, that is David's kingdom, for the sake of his, that is God's people, Israel." David understood this was a God thing, not a David thing. The people and the kingdom belonged to God. But it still required David to make choices, to take a fork in the road. Beginning with the choice to honor God as a youth when anointed by Samuel, then with his choice to take on Goliath, and then serve Saul, and then flee from Saul rather than fight back and commit murder. But David didn't always take the right fork. However, upon discovering that he had taken the wrong one, David willingly repented and turned back to God. David knew it wasn't about him so much as he was a way for God's purpose to eventually be fulfilled in Jesus. However, that doesn't mean God was just using David. No, not at all. His love for David was far greater than we can even imagine. What about you? You have to choose too. Which fork have you taken? Is it the one of submission to Jesus, who gave his life for you because of divine love, or the one of serving yourself? Only one leads to the glory God offers, the glory possible in part because David and Israel took the right forks. Today, right now, we all stand at a fork in the road. Let's be sure to take the one that leads to him. Thanks for watching today's Morning Minutes in the Bible. Until next time, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day.